Hey, are you a tired landlord? Yes, I'm talking to you. How you doing? My name is Cruz. Today I'm going to go over need to sell his freaking rental property. I added the freaking part because I totally understand when you have bad tenants. Look, I used to be in the military. When I was in the military, back in 2000 is when I started doing real estate part-time, and I had over 40 rental properties while I was in the military, and it was stressful. I was pulling out my hair. Thank God I didn't lose my hair, but I was pulling out my hair. I mean, it was horrible. So I'm going to go over 3 things that we're going to talk about if you are a tired landlord and you're stressing out about that rental property, okay? So the first thing is this. I'm a landlord and I'm not making any money. I get that question all the time. So if you're a landlord and you have tenants in a property and you're not producing an ROI, that means a rate of return, you got to ask yourself some questions. So let's talk about this. So the first thing is, if you're not producing an ROI, what are you doing? What are you doing? There's a lot of different ways that you can make money off that rental property. You could do a lease option, you could do a rent to own, you can sell the property and just say, look, I'm done with it. I buy tired rental properties all the time from tired landlords. And so you could still make money. There's no reason for you to stress out. So one of the main rules too is if you're a landlord, do not tell your tenants that you are the owner of the company. Please, that is a very amateur mistake that people do. Why? Because when people feel like they know the owner, they always want what? That favor. Or they want you to understand, look, you're running a business. If you want to run around a nonprofit, that's fine. You could run a nonprofit. There's nothing wrong with running a nonprofit. But if you choose to be a real estate investor, if you choose to be a landlord, then no, you run a business and you have to be smart with it because that's your kids' money, that's your finances, that's your wife's money, that's your family's money. Like, don't mess this up. You only got usually about one chance. Well, sometimes 2. But remember, you've got to produce an ROI. So if you're not making any money, here's a couple things that you could do. Number 1, you've got to have an increase of your rental properties on a yearly basis. So you should be having, it should go with inflation. Inflation is about 2 to 3%. So 2 to 3% every single year, your dollar decreases its value. So if your dollar decreases its value, and you can look this up on the government website, if your dollar decreases value, that means you have to up your rental property at least 2 to 3% every single year just to catch up with your dollar decreasing its value. Okay, so every year, you can look this up, your dollar decreases. Why is it in 1950 we could buy a brand new car for $2,000, but now a brand new car is like $35,000 or $40,000? So just do the math on that, okay? So whenever you're dealing with that, again, you want to increase your lease agreement 2 to 3%, make sure it's inside there. The other thing is, if you have automatic billing with your tenants, make sure you have some kind of automatic billing that their rent is coming out automatically so you're not stressing out. You shouldn't be getting cash, cashier's check, or anything. It should just be auto-paid directly to you. Here's another question I get a lot of. Tenants are the worst. Sorry about that. They are the worst. Okay? I totally understand it. Look, tenant, we all have been tenants. We're currently a tenant. If you want to get super technical, we pay the government taxes just to live on land that we own. Does that make any sense? I have no idea. But anyway, that's just the rule of the land that we happen to live in, right? So if we happen to live here and we know for a fact that we're paying taxes or we're paying somebody else to live at this property, you've got to create standards. What are your standards of you as the landlord? Remember, landlord in America is very different from landlord in Europe. In Europe, it actually means that you are the lord of the land. Okay, so it's actually the opposite. Okay? My name actually stands for landowner, which is actually pretty cool. But in America, you are the landlord and slave, okay? And the only reason why I say that is because you have to do the bidding of what you put inside your agreement. So if you put certain things inside your agreement and you both signed and both agreed upon it, Don't forget, you've got to actually do that, okay? And so if you have a tenant that's horrible, sometimes you want to pay that tenant off, really. Hey, what is it going to take for you just to move on? You know, our agreement's not working out, or that you and the property management company, if you have one, or if you're yourself the property management company, you have to make sure those standards are there in the beginning. Make sure you're doing a proper background check with this individual that you're letting inside your home. Make sure you're calling their past tenants. On their tenant application, it says, where did they live? Call them. Hey, how was Billy Joe? Was Billy Joe a good guy? Was he? Let me find out. Did he make the payments? No. If he did, great. If he didn't, you need to know that. Does Billy Joe actually have a job? Does he have a job that has been consistent for years to come, that he can pay it without stressing you out? Dude, I don't have the money, man. I just don't have the money. It's not going to work for me. No, you've got to actually ask those questions. So if you've got a horrible tenant, make sure that, look, if you've already got a bad tenant, you got to work this out with that tenant. If you are trying to get better at this game called being a landlord, and you're tired and you just want to sell it, you could always call me. But it's all good. If you don't have to, that's fine. Find somebody that you could possibly sell this property, make some money. Now, also, if you ever sell this property, just remember, do a 1031 exchange. If you don't do a 1031 exchange, it all matters where you live. You're going to lose anywhere from 20 to 33% of your profit, because you're not being smart tax-wise. So be super, super smart when it comes down to selling a property that you actually had it leased out, okay? Now, I can't afford it anymore. Help me. Now, you may have a vacancy. You may have a property. I've literally have been in the property just recently that the tenant stripped the entire property. And what I mean by that is they stripped the kitchens. They stripped everything, the flooring, the drywall. They took out a sink. I mean, it was horrible. Not even 2 years prior, the landlord put everything brand new. Everything was brand new, and these people just ruined it. So what happened? Now he is out almost $20,000 of money that he doesn't have. So look, sometimes you got to cut your losses, man. I've been there. Sometimes you got to look at yourself in the mirror and say, man, I just got to dump it. Now look, if we can help, fantastic. If we can't, hopefully we can guide you in the right way. But if you're in that situation, you've got to stop the bleeding. You cannot just not look at it and think it's going to go away. It actually doesn't work that way. You've got to actually attack it. You've got to say, man, I'm bleeding. I got to make this happen. I got to put something on this wound. I've got to have some kind of action plan to actually move forward in the direction that I need to move forward in, to not be a tired landlord, but I would say a happy landlord, okay? That's what you're shooting for. You're shooting for happiness, okay? You're shooting for the Walmart logo. That's what you're shooting for. You're shooting for saying, man, okay, I'm not too stressed about it. But again, if you need help, if you're like, oh my goodness, I'm tired, I need to dump this property, possibly we can, do something with it, right? If you got something out of this, also, you have to remember this. You gotta smash that like button, okay? So if you got something out of this video, definitely smash the like button. Leave a comment below. Follow what we're up to 100%. And at the same time, too, tell me, what did you get out of this video? And then what question or what type of video would you like for us to do next time? So you got to leave a comment. Guys, my name is Franklin Cruz. I'll talk to you later.